And our fifth and final main topic today gets sent in to us from Thomas H., who writes, "Hey, John, big fan of the show. Thank you so much, Thomas. What are your thoughts on Robert Downey Jr.'s comments about telling Disney not to push for his Oscar nomination for Endgame? And do you believe it? Thanks, and bring on the filthy." All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And yes, we talked about this the other day prior to the Robert Downey. So here's what the story was before. Disney had started doing their Oscar push for various films, including Endgame. One of the things notably that they were not pushing for was for an acting nomination for Robert Downey Jr. To which I said, it's just as well. I didn't think he deserved it. I think he was great in it. I think he was great, but I did not think he was top 5 of the year. So that was just me. Other people have other opinions, and that's fine. So apparently Robert Downey Jr. appeared on the Howard Stern show.
Which I watched.
Which you did. You saw.
I watched it yesterday.
So he appeared on the Howard Stern show, and they were talking about it, and Robert Downey Jr. just made a very kind of brief statement about it and just said, basically, yeah, came up with Disney, and he just basically said, yeah, let's not. Let's not. Now, look, some people have been trying to suggest, yeah, because Robert Downey Jr. doesn't care about the Oscars. Oh, he does. Just go back and listen to everything else he's ever said about the Oscars. And go listen to what he said when he was nominated for an Oscar before. He very much cares about the Oscars, as all actors do. Some may say publicly they don't. Yes, they do. And he cares about the Oscars. He does. He's been very, very open about that before. Look, I can only speculate. I don't know Robert Downey Jr. personally, obviously. I have not had deep, intimate conversations with him about this, clearly. But to me, I think, because I said this last week, Rob, when we were talking about this from the Disney perspective. I said last week, I said, I got a feeling, why do it? Because you're not going to get the nomination. So why throw yourself out there in a public campaign to get a nomination and then just start hearing all over the place the line, he didn't deserve it, he doesn't deserve it. What's the point of that? And I feel like Robert Downey Jr., who is a great thespian, he's not just the MCU, folks. He is a great actor. And I think a guy of the caliber and experience of Robert Downey Jr., I think he knows. Yeah, look, I loved what I did in Avengers Endgame was great, but that wasn't an Oscar-worthy thing. I think he knows that. And I think part of him's like, yeah, let's not do an Oscar push for that because I'm going to get an Oscar in my lifetime. I'm sure he thinks that. But that's not what it's going to be for. And not because he doesn't want one for Endgame. It's just I don't think that was the one that deserves it. And he probably doesn't want to have like everybody talking now for 3 months about how having a back and forth battle. Yes, he deserves it. No, he doesn't deserve it. Like, what's the point of that when he himself probably doesn't feel like that was his Oscar-worthy performance? So that's my take on that at any rate. Rob, how did you interpret that? You watched it live. I didn't see it live.
Yeah, it wasn't live. It was a clip. I just watched it on YouTube. Here's the thing. Like you just said, Robert Downey Jr. is a very smart guy. And we all love Tony Stark. We all saw him establish his character. But you know what he knows more than anything? Endgame and Infinity War specifically are ensemble movies. And I think he, by all accounts, the way he would have host lunches for his fellow Avengers, for him to come out and them to publicly mount a Best Actor campaign for Endgame, what does that say to all of the other actors that are in that movie, specifically Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth? Does that mean that, Tony Stark had a much bigger role to play than Steve Rogers? Arguably, I think Steve Rogers and Thor and Chris Hemsworth did incredible work in that movie. And I think Robert Downey Jr. has the riches and the benefits that he has achieved over the 11 years of the Infinity Saga go far beyond acting accolades. And I think he knows that his other actor friends are just as responsible for the success of the MCU as he is. Yeah, it started out with Iron Man, but you know what? Those Captain America movies, no slouch films themselves. Thor movies, Ragnarok maybe is the best of them, but still. He has an ensemble group of people, and for him, he's not going to sit there and go, his money tells him how valuable he is, but he's not going to tell his fellow actors, hey, I'm more important than you, so let's mount a Best Actor campaign for me.
I don't buy that for a second.
I'm telling you.
You know why I don't buy that for a second? Because he didn't stop for 1 second from taking much bigger paychecks than everybody else
Yeah,
did.
that's because it ain't show friends, it's show business.
I agree, but you can't tell me that Robert Downey, and I love Robert Downey Jr., let's be clear about this. You can't tell me the underlying philosophy here of flowers and rainbows of Robert Downey Jr.
I'm not saying
is that he doesn't want his other cast members to feel like he's more important. You know what tells them he's more important? The fact that he gets triple the paycheck that everybody else does, more than an Oscar. Do you think Sir Ian McKellen was dissing his other Lord of the Rings castmates when he got a nomination for an acting award for Lord of the Rings? No. If his philosophy was, I don't want other people to feel like I'm more important, then he wouldn't have taken a bigger paycheck.
Look, I think the reason, no, that's not, it ain't, look, when it comes to money, it's one thing, but there's also,
that's where money talks.
It's also perception in the industry too. Robert Downey Jr. does not need, he got a Best Actor nomination for Chaplin, and I think part of it is like what you said, his performance in Endgame, while good, is not an Oscar caliber performance. Not when you've got Joaquin Phoenix, his Joker performance. You really think you're going to, did he want that kind of comparison? There's nothing good that would have come out of an Oscar campaign for Tony Stark as for his performance as Tony Stark.
So we agree on that.
Yeah, there's nothing good that would have come out of it.
But you don't think that Robert Downey Jr.'s inherent integrity as an actor, like that wasn't the motivating thing for him to say, look, let's not do an Oscar push because as an actor, I don't think that's the one for me to get an award for.
I absolutely think
but
that's
part of it. But
you
also think it was he didn't want to put himself above
his
other cast members.
I also think that if you look at the way he's treated his fellow actors over the course of the 11 years, that dude, like you said, is getting paid, I mean, by an extraordinary amount, much larger amount, because let's face it, the cornerstone of the MCU is, in fact, Iron Man. Everybody knows it. Hey, you want Spider-Man to succeed? We bring Tony. They didn't bring in, well, there was a little Captain America, but they bring in Tony Stark to mentor Peter Parker. I mean, he's clearly, and it's like, you know, there's only so much people can take. He's been through a lot of therapy. He talked a lot about therapy on the Howard Stern show. He is at a place in his life where he does not need, especially like you said, to have an Oscar. You know, they do that a lot. They promote actors no matter what they've done for Best Actor. I mean, everybody wants to get there. But Robert Downey Jr. has played the game. He's been in Hollywood for the better part of 4 decades now.
Yeah, we forget how long he's been in the business.
4 decades, you know. Tough turf, 85. James Spader, Robert Downey Jr.
Always tough turf.
It's always tough turf. It goes back, by the way. What a great Blu-ray Kino put out with an awesome, well, you just got to get it. But I think that's part of it. I think he just doesn't need it. If he knew that he had a shot, of course he would. But not for Tony Stark. Not in the movie that, I mean, he's been playing Tony Stark for 11 years. I mean, come on. If he wasn't going to get one for Iron Man 1, where he was front and center, why would he get one for an ensemble? I'm telling you, he's made hundreds of millions of dollars.
There was the argument that some people made that, you know, well, what if, and there was some talk that if he was not being put forward as lead actor, and I think you and I talked about this, what if he was put forward as a supporting actor? Which I believe, was Ian McKellen is that not, because Lord of the Rings was all ensemble, and I think McKellen might have been supporting. I'll have to look that up and double check.
I think that would be a different situation,
but
to be
again,
honest.
I still don't think it was an Oscar-worthy performance.
Yeah, I don't either.
I think it was great, but I don't think it was Oscar-worthy.
No, I don't think it was. I mean, he had a great death scene, and he had basically 2 great scenes in that movie. You know, he had a lot of fun scenes, like with his wife and stuff, but the great scenes were the scenes where he fell down when he's addressing all of the Avengers, and his death scene. That was some Oscar caliber acting. Not that he didn't do well in the rest of the film, but those are hard scenes to pull off. Those were emotional scenes, and they were heart-wrenching for us, the audience. But, you know, it's not like and look, when he met his dad, that was a great scene too. There's all these great scenes throughout the movie, but, you know, it's not like the movie was necessarily about him. It's called Avengers Endgame.
I think I don't even think it's
supporting.
I still don't think it was deserving of it. But I'll tell you this: I think the most overlooked performance from him in Endgame. I don't even think that opening thing when he shows back up at Avengers headquarters and he's all mad at Tony. I mean, that was a good scene.
Yeah.
It was fine. It wasn't. That's not the one that stands out to me. I think the scene from him that gets overlooked the most. There's the death scene, which is great. I think. And it's not just because of the one stupid line. I think that scene in his little girl's bedroom.
Oh, yeah.
Just because it's subtle. he played that scene. You know what? I'm going to say that's my favorite acted scene of his in that movie, was because there was a subtlety for he was showing a guy radiating so much emotion while trying not to show a lot of it at the same time. Like it was layered, it was nuanced, and it was a simple little scene. Him in his room with his daughter, and then just when she says, "Love you 3000," right? The way he played that, you could tell this is a character inside he's exploding, but he's just, wow, just trying.
I agree.
I thought that was his best acting in the whole, and I think that scene gets overlooked. I really do. I think that was his best acting in the movie. I love that. Question here is, guys, what do you think about that? Do you agree that, look, there was really no point in doing an Oscar? He wasn't going to get a nomination anyway, one way or the other. Do you think there was some other motivation behind that? What do you guys think about that? Jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.